So, this one's gonna be about Jeff Bezos and how he was able to become the world's richest man. But more after the intro, as every day. Even though I have to say the first episode that I was recording today was really shit, like tremendously shit, I'm kind of pumped for this episode, I do also have to say, that just because the other one was really shit, I'm not as pumped as I've been, for example, yesterday for recording this episode. Still, I'm going to enjoy it. I at least hope. But it's not about if I'm enjoying it or not. It's about Jeff Bezos today and how he was able to become the world's richest man, which is something that's really interesting to me. And I also hope that it is interesting to you as well. But something that I do want to point out before I'm actually heading into this article is that this particular episode, so that you're just seeing right here, if you're on YouTube, this particular episode is also available as a podcast. And the links are down in the description, and all the links that might be interesting for you and might be relevant for you are down into the description, or in the description actually. And so if you're a person that is like if it is more effective for you to learn through audio, then just please check out the podcast, because this is the audio version of this particular video. And if it is effective for you, then just please do that, please go into the description and check out the podcast. But for most people, it might also be way more effective because you're able to do something simultaneously. While you're listening to this episode on the podcast, you might be able to just walk your dog. You might be able to just work out. You might be able to just go jogging, which makes you able to do two things at a time, which is really efficient, at least at my point of view. And or if it's something that you want to do, please then as well go down into the description and check out the podcast. And it should also lead you to the podcast page where you can also just choose which platform you would like to be using. Like you could listen to it on Spotify, on Google Podcast, on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher, on Anchor, on there's so many different platforms for listening to podcasts. It's just insane. But yeah, this is not what it's going to be about, because it is about Jeff Bezos. And as you can see on the left side, it is about how Jeff Bezos became the world's richest man. And as you can see, there's a kind of just small table of contents, and I'm going to read it. So first of all, we're going to go through Amazon Beyond Books. Then it's about beating expectations, real estate, charitable donations, which is something that I'm really interested in. Since I've actually read something about charitable donations or donations in general that somehow are good for your business and whatever. There's something about it which makes donations really good for your business and also kind of profitable. And I always then thought well, why? It really doesn't make any sense. Then we're going through media, high-tech, glass, and travel. So high-tech, glass, and travel. And then the last one is they weigh out their ideas. Yeah, this is what we're going to go through. So I'm gonna read. Jeff Bezos is now the richest person on earth with his personal fortune eclipsing the wealth amassed by legendary investor Warren Buffett and Microsoft Corporation MSFT co-founder Bill Gates. Bezos made the top spot of Forbes magazine's 2018 400 Richest in America list with a net worth of $160 billion. Jeff Bezos has literally dozens of ideas that span a broad range of investments, all the way from real estate to the retrieval of rocket ship engines from the ocean floor. Pretty interesting. I didn't know that, especially the last one, but he's definitely a pretty smart dude, and I gotta have to say, he really is smart. He might not always seem he always seems pretty smart, and he just might seem to be a crazy guy for you, or to you. But I think he's actually really smart. I think he's actually really smart because I don't know. Of course, there just has to be some luck just in this whole game that Jeff Bezos was playing or is playing. Especially also according to Mark Cuban, who said that he would actually become a millionaire again. If you would take all his wealth off of him, then he would actually become a millionaire again, because he has a lot of knowledge, he has the skills, and he just also has the experience, But the thing is, he said that he doesn't actually know if he would become a billionaire once again, just because he said that there is some luck involved. And do I feel that it is because I don't know. Like I'm not even a millionaire. I don't even have 100,000. Like just I'm basically really poor. Not like really really poor. Just I'm really happy that I'm able to just live in this country. You know, I'm living in Austria, in Europe, in the heart of Europe actually, and it's amazing. You know, the possibilities that I'm having. Actually, the possibility to sit here and talk to you, it's just amazing. Like it really is amazing, and I gotta have to be grateful for that. But just I don't know. I do not have a lot of wealth, and I hope I will have. You know, just because for me, being rich and being wealthy is just about being wealth and being rich, being wealthy and being rich. You know, there's just I don't know. I don't give a fuck about just looking cool to other people. I don't give a fuck about just really expensive stuff because I wouldn't actually buy it myself because I'm not just paying for anything at this point in time. Like, I'm not buying anything, like really anything. Therefore, I would think that, if I would have the money, I would also not really buy myself anything. The thing is, or if I had the money, I would also not buy, or I would, never mind. The thing is, like for me, being rich is just about being rich, just because not everyone was able in their lifetime to become rich. This is my kind of drive, or my kind of just reason why I would like to be rich, and I would like to get rich, and I'm maybe gonna be rich. But yeah. The founder and chief executive officer, CEO of global e-commerce behemoth Amazon.com Inc., which is Amazon in the stock market, because this is an investment page. Because I haven't actually mentioned, I'm on Investopedia, investopedia.com, I hope, but the links is going to be down in the description, as well as all the other links that might be relevant for you, or to you, or just interesting for you, or to you. But yeah, is responsible for running a platform that accounted for 4% of all US retail sales in 2017 and a whopping 44% of digital spending. As digitalization reshapes human behavior and the cloud computing revolution does the same to enterprise, the leader in online retail with its high-flying cloud computing platform, Amazon Web Services, which is AWS, is only forecasted to propel higher, spelling more good news for its CEO. Yeah, the thing is, I have to say, that he's actually... The thing is, he's not only good at retail, he's also investing in a lot of other things, and this is also something that the article is going to explain and going to talk about and those things, but it's really interesting, and this is maybe one of the reasons why I have to say that he's just a smart dude, because he's investing in so many things. Just Amazon Prime alone is just such a good decision, or was such a good decision, just because it is such an incredible competitor for never mind. To Netflix, because Netflix is a little bit struggling. Amazon has a fucking lot of money, they're able to produce their own content, they're able to get the licenses, they're able to do so, and they're having a really, 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 really good just collection of series and movies and all those things that you're able to just get through Amazon Prime Video. But the thing is, with Amazon Prime, you're also getting music, you're also getting free shipping, you're getting so many things, The thing why, and this is also something that Gary Vee was talking about, and it's something that I really believe in, the reason for why Amazon is such a good company, or Jeff Bezos is such a good and also successful leader and CEO with Amazon, is just because he's consumer-centric, just because he's listening to the consumer, and just because he's giving something to the consumer that they actually want to have. And I think that's quite it, to be honest. But let's see, blah, 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 blah. When Bezos had his idea for the everything store, his well-intentioned friends and family tried to talk him out of quitting his stable job in finance, because I think he was actually working at JP Morgan or something. I'm not quite sure. I really am not. Yet, Bezos, raised by his teen mom and later his Cuban immigrant stepfather, always dreamed of creating something different, once telling his school teacher that the future of mankind is not on this planet. Bezos even has a website, which is bezosexpeditions.com, that provides a rundown of 20 or so of his major investments and charitable donations. The name Expeditions? Is appropriate, since Bezos' investments are not concentrated in just one or two industries or even market sectors. Rather, they represent a flare-flung exploration of many different business areas and ideas, including media, virtual reality, cloud computing, and homespun arts and crafts. I didn't know that he is investing in art. The key takeaways. Jeff Bezos is perhaps most well known as the founder and CEO of internet giant Amazon.com. His net worth has now surpassed 150 billion, making him not only the current world's richest person, but wealthier than anyone else in the planet, dating back to at least 1982. So there is actually somebody before 1982 that was richer than Jeff Bezos is right now. Like, of course, if it is about just the old currency, like the old dollar, you actually have to calculate that according to what it is right now. You know, there's always just some calculations involved and whatnot. So nobody actually was able to gain and or amass $150 billion. But if you calculate it, then probably just the wealth of somebody before 1982 is nowadays just more than those 150 billion. Just how did Bezos and Amazon become so successful? Let's find out. Amazon behind and or beyond books. The tech visionary graduated from Princeton with a major in computer science and electrical engineering. Upon graduation, he turned down job offers from companies such as Intel and Bell Labs to join a startup called Fiddle. He went on to launch a news by fax service company with Halsey Minor, the founder of CNET. After the venture failed, Bezos became the youngest senior vice president at a hedge fund called D.E. Shaw, working his way up the ranks in just 4 years. Bezos could have stayed on Wall Street for the rest of his career if he hadn't been enthralled by the knowledge that by 1994 the internet was growing at the rate of 2,300% annually. Soon enough, his idea for Amazon was born, and the CEO began making a list of 20 possible product categories to sell online. Amazon.com, then a platform for selling books, grew its early stages out of a garage with a pot-belly stove. Bezos, who put his own $10,000 in the company, comprised of himself, his wife, and 2 programmers, ironically conducted most of his meetings at the neighborhood Barnes & Noble. Within its first month, it's really funny just because Amazon started out as a book retailer, basically, and Barnes & Noble was one of those book retailers. And a funny story, Barnes & Noble actually had the chance to get into the internet and to just be part of the whole thing, but they didn't believe in it. And this is the only reason why there hasn't been a Barnes & Noble online store, just because they really didn't believe in the internet. And it definitely was a bet. It was a bet that nobody actually knew whether it is going to be a good thing and or if it's going to be just a really fucked up thing and if it's just that it's not going to work. Nobody knew that. And the thing is just, I don't know, Jeff Bezos took the risk and he went for it. And as we know by now, it was actually a pretty good decision. I don't know how happy he is, but I guess he's just doing pretty good. Within its first month after launch in July 1995, Amazon sold books in every state in the US and 45 countries around the world. In the first month after launch. What the fuck? And actually within the first month. Beating expectations. During Amazon's first year, Bezos tried to raise money by predicting 74 million in sales by 2000, far underestimating the reality, which is 1.64 billion in the first year. You have to imagine that. You're having a company, and in the first year, it's making $1.64 billion. He managed to get a 1 million in seed funding from angel investors after using up investments from his family, primarily from his parents, who chipped into a significant portion of their life savings. According to the CEO, the first 20 or so outside investors in Amazon put in about $50,000, each for a stake of less than 1%. Each investment would now be worth around $6 billion, representing a 120,000 times return given the investors held onto their entire stakes and that they had never been diluted by later investors. In June 1996, Amazon raised another $8 million in Series A from venture capital firm Kleiner Perkins. I don't know Kleiner Perkins, but $8 million I actually have to say that 8 million isn't that much. I don't know if it actually was way more back in the days, but nowadays 8 million is a lot. Like 8 million is 8 million, you know? It's just 8 million. Like it is something, but I don't know. Like it's still compared to, I don't know, compared to just a billion. Like making a billion in fucking sales and then just comparing it to 8 million in funding. I don't know, it's not that much. It's not that much. I don't know. Maybe it's just how I feel about it and how I think about it, but for me, it's really not that much. Amazon went public in May 1997 and turned out to be one of the few startups that survived the dot-com bust, as the platform diversified its product offerings and solidified itself as a market leader and pioneer. Annual sales skyrocketed from $510,000 in 19... Wait. As the platform... the annual sales. I do just actually have to say, because I've just once, before I've read the whole thing, the whole kind of how it came up and whatsoever, because I've actually read a summary, and it is definitely also just still on the channel and or also on the podcast. I've read a summary of the Everything store, and the first, I don't know, I think half of the book is actually kind of a timeline of how Bezos was building Amazon. And just in the first few episodes and the first few minutes, it was really interesting, but then it really got boring. But I have to see, like, here, the first year, sales were 1.6 billion. The thing is, why are the sales then in what was it, 1997? Like, oh yeah, I see. Never mind, because it's about 2000. In 2000 it was 1.64 billion, and I don't know why they're just switching the time. First of all, they're talking about 2000, then they're talking about 1997. But yeah, okay. In 1997, the sales were at 510,000. 1995 to over to what? Well, never mind. So in 1995 to over 17 billion. Oh, I'm sorry. In 2001, it's been 17 billion. Okay, now I know. And in 1995, it's been 510,000, which is still a lot, which is really a lot. Like, you have to imagine a relatively small company, and then making just... You also have to think about that. You're making 510,000 in 1995, and then in 2001, which is 6 years from just 2005, from 1995, you're making 17 billion, which is like 1,000%. Like, no, it's not 1,000, but it's probably just 200%, 300. It's just really a lot. It's really good. In 1998, Bezos also became an early investor in Google, which is something that I didn't know and didn't read. While he has not revealed what he has kept of the stock after its initial public offering in 2004, his $250,000 investment would be worth well over $6 billion today. In August 2013, the business mogul bought the Washington Post for $250 million. Since then, its audience traffic has exploded, surpassing the New York Times in terms of US unique web viewers in October 2005. The company's share price reflects the phenomenal growth. The stock has given an over 523% return over the past 5 years and is up 67.7% year to date as of October the 3rd, 2018. Bezos owns about 16.3% of the 24-year-old company, making it the biggest source of his wealth. A Security and Exchange Commission, which is SEC, filing in November 2017 showed that the CEO sold 1 million shares of his company for 1.1 billion. The last filing dated August 2018 shows Bezos owning 78.8 million shares. It's actually quite a lot. Really a lot. Amazon boasted of 142 billion in sales in FY. Is this kind of the first quarter or some shit like this in 2018? Real estate. Bezos also has substantial holdings in more traditional investments such as real estate. His 165, just try to sit still. His 165,000-acre corn ranch in Texas was acquired as the base of operations for his aerospace company, Blue Origin, and serves as the test site for the vertical landing manned suborbital New Shepard rocket. I don't know, but the housing prices and also the land prices, the real estate prices in my space, in my country, they're really fucking high, especially in my space, especially in my area. They're really, really, really high. It is just insane. It is insane how high they are. But like 165,000 acres. Who the fuck actually needs that? Nobody. But I mean, like for an aerospace company, it's quite fine and it's quite good. Like it's usable. It's nice to have that. His personal real estate includes holdings on both the east and west coast. Bezos has 2 multi-million-dollar homes in Beverly Hills and a 10,000 square foot apartment in the Century Tower in Manhattan that cost him just under $10 million. Bezos' New York presence is reported to have boosted Century Tower property values even higher, with space selling for $2,000 to $3,000 per square foot. He also has a lakeside property in Washington State on which he spent $28 million to increase the living space to almost 3,000 square feet. In 2012, Amazon bought its own South Lake Union headquarters building in Seattle for $1.5 billion, instantly making the company one of the city's largest commercial property owners. Amazon took possession of nearly a dozen buildings, almost 2 million square feet of office space, and approximately 100,000 square feet of retail space. Also in 2012, the company spent about $200 million to purchase a 3-block area in downtown Seattle that is being developed as office tower space. In 2014, Amazon spent another $50 million to pick up one more square block. In August 2017, the Seattle Times reported that Amazon has just as much office space as Seattle's next 40 largest employers combined. Like, of course, the thing is, like, Amazon is the biggest and the wealthiest company in the world. Of course, they're having a lot of money. And of course, they're having also a lot of possibilities to buy things, a lot of possibilities to acquire things. They have the possibilities, they can do that. This is something that I have to point out and I have to emphasize, they're having the money. And I don't know, but if I was really smart, if I was like Jeff Bezos, I just would also do that, I guess, because I don't know, land's gonna be really expensive, I think, in the future, because we are getting more and more people and there's less and less space. I guess it's just gonna be something relatively precious in the near future. And what's the opposite of near future? Like in the long future and just away from. Never mind. Let's move on. Charitable donations. Bezos has also invested very sizable sums in giving back through charitable donations. In addition to the Bezos Family Foundation that funds several education projects, Bezos has made individual multi-million-dollar charitable contributions to the Seattle Museum of History and Industry, as well as to his alma mater, Princeton University. In January 2008, Bezos and his wife McKinsey announced a $33 million donation to the Dream US, an organization working to improve college access for undocumented immigrants, youth who were brought to the United States as young children. The grant will provide college scholarships to 1,000 US high school graduates with DACA status. I don't know what DACA status is. Deferred Action for Childhood. Arrivals is an American immigration policy that allows some individuals with unlawful presence in the United States after being brought to the country as children to receive a renewable 2-year period of deferred action from deportation and become eligible for a work permit in the US. Sounds great. Media, high-tech, glass, and travel. Bezos has an affinity for the technology sector, for media and communication services that facilitate connecting people, and also for just what he considers to be potentially profitable investments. In the media and communications sector, Bezos has invested in Twitter Inc. and has committed nearly $50 million in venture capital to the popular business news website Business Insider. But didn't know it. He acquired the Washington Post in 2013 for $250 million. TechStreet Inc., ZocDoc Inc., and Nextdoor are all platforms for connecting people in which Bezos has invested. Bezos' expectations has also invested in Unity Biotechnology Inc., a healthcare startup targeting diseases related to aging. In the travel sector, Bezos has invested $112 million and $33 million, respectively, in Series B financing of Airbnb and transportation service Uber. Bezos is a big believer in the cloud, as evidenced by Amazon's major push in providing cloud computing services. However, his investment interest does not end with his own company. One of his notable investment success is Workday Inc., a company that provides human resource service in the cloud. Shortly after Bezos' venture capital investment in the company, it went public in an initial public offering that garnered $684 million. In the sphere of a more traditional retail business, Bezos has also invested in Glassy Baby, a company that makes glass-blown holders for votive candles. What the fuck? And the last one, I'm also going to push through this one. The way out there ideas. Two of Bezos' investments that engender a lot of the discussion and that are considered a bit off the wall are the 1,000-year clock and the F1 engine retrieval project. The 1,000-year clock project is an effort to build a clock into the side of the Sierra Diablo mountain range in Texas, a clock that literally keeps on ticking for 1,000 years. The clock is planned to have a chime generator that generates a different chime sound for each day, just coming up with 10,000 times 365 different chime sounds, like a pretty daunting challenge. Bezos explained the need for the clock by saying today's global problems require long-term thinking. The F1 engine retrieval project is an effort to salvage the engine that powered the Apollo 11 flight to the moon from the ocean floor. Bezos assumes NASA would likely donate the engines to the Smithsonian. With his booming wealth, Bezos is now able to fulfill his childhood dream of becoming a space entrepreneur. Each year, he commits $1 billion to his space exploration company Blue Origin, which in 2016 became one of the first commercial companies to launch a reusable rocket. On July 18th, 2018, Blue Origin sent spacecraft New Shepard into high altitude order to test its safety system, which then worked, as you might have seen as well. But yeah, I do not want to actually kind of just stretch out the whole episode, but this is going to be the end of the episode. I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, because we can definitely have an impact on our own legacy by, for example, being nice and then being remembered as a nice person. The thing is, we are 7.7 billion people on the world. Not everyone's going to like you, and just not everyone's going to love you. 3 other questions that I hope that you're going to ask yourself are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? I hope these 3 questions are going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, since a lot of companies actually started out with having a solution for problems that really pissed them off. And yeah, this is my rant, and this was my rant on just Jeff Bezos and how he was able to become such a wealthy dude. And I gotta have to say, like, he invested a lot of money into other companies, and I didn't know that. And this definitely is also a very big splurge. No, it's not a splurge. It's part of his wealth. But yeah, with that being said, if you've liked it, please subscribe to the podcast and please subscribe to the YouTube channel so that I'm gonna see you the next time, which I'm hopefully gonna do. I see you, hopefully.